Just because I'm cursed doesn't mean I can't have some fun and talk about how I did my cosplay. Baldur's Gate 3 inspired me to become a tiefling with my own epic Baldur's Gate inspired cosplay. If you've watched some of my other videos, it's no secret that every so often I like to dress up for my videos. But this time I decided to take that to the extreme and create the best costume I've worn before. This cosplay is in honor of my Baldur's Gate series, in which I take you along my process as I work to create a Baldur's Gate inspired animation short. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you check out all those videos after you watch this one. Without further ado, let's become a tiefling. So the first step of this design process is creating a design in Procreate. Originally, I was going to do those big curved ruin horns because that was the first horns I used for my tiefling character and I really liked them, but I thought, why not keep it simple for our first cosplay on YouTube? Let's do the shorter horns, which are also very pretty. For my outfit, I based it off of this monk photo that will be right here, and what I had at home to kind of, create that look based off of, my closet and my mom's. And then for the skin tone, I looked at all the body paint options I had, and I wanted to pick something more similar to my skin tone for my first YouTube cosplay, and I wasn't sure which one would work the best, so I looked at those two purples I wanted, and I was like, I'll pick one of these two. So, yeah. And I think, before we get too deep into it, I should give an Auntie Ethel update. So, for people who have watched my previous video, you'll know I've been cursed by Auntie Ethel, and the only way to break this curse is to make a Baldur's Gate themed animation, hence this video series. Although, gotta have a little fun every once in a while and do some cosplay. It's gonna take a while, so. But you'll know at the end of the video, I had some unexpected side effects. My arm started sprouting mushrooms, which was disconcerting. So I tried everything I could do to get rid of it. Fungal creams, skin treatment, nothing was working. So I cut them off. So far, they haven't grown back, and I'm hoping it'll stay that way, and I can make this animation in peace, but I don't trust Auntie Ethel to leave me enjoying myself that much, so we'll see how this goes. Let's get back to the cosplay reaction. So the second step is making the horns. I'm following Miss Twisted's video tutorial showing how to make horns in her Carlock cosplay. You start with cutting up these strips of toilet paper tubes or paper towel tubes and taping them together into a horn-like shape. After that, you're going to add a support wire and add tin foil to build up the form of the horn. And I put this against my head a lot while I'm doing this to see how it looks, because you want it to look good. After I do that, I cover the whole thing with masking tape, to give a nice smooth surface and to kind of hold everything in there nice and strong. And after that, it's time to bust out the foam clay. So let's see my reaction to how that weird stuff feels. The only two horns. I got the horns covered with masking tape. So now we're gonna bust out that foam clay, which I'm nervous for. So let's do this. I've got another bucket, but I'm hoping I won't need to use that much of this because I'm really hoping this project, whatever. I'm hoping this will work out well. Looks really creamy. I'm gonna touch it. Oh, okay, it feels weird. It doesn't feel like clay. Okay, so I need a little surface that I can put this on. I can't get any cutting mats, unfortunately, because like I said before, we had to clear out our basement, and that's the craft room. Not the basement, not the whole basement, but we had to clear out the craft room to do the heating geothermal thing. So now I can't get a cutting mat. So I'm gonna use this. Alright, just like Miss Twisted, I take out the foam clay and I flatten it into a pancake so I can use to wrap around my horns. And some things to keep in mind when working with foam clay: they don't stick well to other texture. They do stick well to themselves, so when you wrap it around, it'll be easier. Yeah, that's it actually. And after I do that, I will try to smooth it out using water. If you get your hands wet and you just rub it, you can do pretty well to smooth it out. And then after that, I'm adding this little detail that runs up the side. So I roll out a worm of foam clay, and then I just press it to attach it into the side and kind of blend it on both sides. Because all the Baldur's Gate horns have that little worm thing running up down the edges. And after that, I'll move on to texturing it with a clay tool, getting it wet with water like Miss Twisted suggests. So the foam does basically otherwise your tool will get stuck and stick to the foam clay. But if you get it wet, you'll be able to texture it all fine. Oh, yes. So one thing I also learned is don't let your horns rest on one side when they're curing, basically. Because after you use this foam clay, you have to wait 48 hours. And doing that will cause an impression to be left on one side. I basically just tried my best to add some texture and fixed it, and at least no one would see it because it was on the back side, so I could be happy with that. After that, I'll seal the foam clay with Mod Podge after it's cured fully. The better thing to use is Flex Bond, but I don't have that, so I give it like 3 coats of Mod Podge and hope I won't get any like weird clumpy bits, glooping up and like getting all those white weird gloopy bits that don't dry. I hope I'm describing this well. And then it's on to dry brushing. So I dry brush the middle bit brown, and then I brush the tips and the tip and bottom of the horn this gray, and then a little bit of black. And I also bring in some white when I'm like, I think I went a little too far. But yeah, that's what I do. Now it's assembly time, and my first attempt did not go the best. So attaching my horns, no matter what I did, I couldn't get them to stay to my forehead. And I didn't do it the best way I could have. Miss Twisted, she glues foam to her forehead here to protect her hairline from the glue. I didn't do that. Glue got stuck in my hair. I ended up having to do that, and it was just for me not wanting to put in the effort, which was silly because I spent all this time making those horns, and I was willing to dedicate myself to that, but then I couldn't glue some foam on my head. It's silly. One thing that did go well was my sister helped me pick out the body paint for this cosplay. You'll see us talking about it there, and you'll see it swatched on my hand a couple times throughout the video. Yeah. And the other thing that also didn't go well was the paint on the ears. So I bought these silicone ears online, because, tieflings, they have kind of pointy ears. But the paint didn't stick to the ears. So that's also a reminder to check if what you're buying is going to work with the material you're using. It didn't. So yeah. And because my sister was home from college, we wanted to go get dinner with my sister and my dad. The reason my mom's not coming is because she's allergic to fish, so every once in a while we go out. My mom's fine with it. It's all fine. It's fine. But yeah, we planned to go out to dinner that night. There was no way I was gonna get this done in time, so I just had to give up that day and come back with a better plan. It's day 2. I've got new ideas of how we can do this. Let's go forward. So the first thing is the horns. I am not attaching them to my forehead anymore. Fuck that. I buy a headband, and I glue it onto the headband using hot glue, masking tape, and duct tape, because honestly the hot glue didn't really do anything. It just kind of popped up. But the masking tape and the duct tape, that's what did it. And you see me celebrating that I got one horn attached. I was so happy. And yeah, it did make putting my hairstyle more complicated, because you'll see me here like kind of flipping my hair over my head and doing all this weird shit because I wanted a messy bun, and I was like, I'm not changing it. I don't want it to just be, my straight normal hair like that I do. I want to do something fun, so I did have to mess around a bit, but it wasn't too bad, and I've got my horns. Problem 1 solved. And then it's the second problem we go to, which are the ears. So I told my friend about this problem, and she had this spray, which I will put on the screen here. Yeah, and you spray it onto the surface of something that can't hold paint, or, yeah. And then it's supposed to help it bond to it. And it's called Mr. Super UV Cut Clear Matte. And I sprayed it on there, and then you can see me here painting the ears, and it's actually staying. I will say one thing that I should have done, but I didn't, just because I don't know, I was messing around. When you paint this Mayron water-based, or I don't know if it's for all water-based, but just for this water-based paint onto things, if you've gotten most of the area, but there's like a patch that you haven't gotten, don't re-rub your brush over it, because it'll just reactivate the water, and the water paint, the face paint, and you'll end up moving it all around. Instead, you gotta blot it in, and that's the better way to do it. After that, I attach the ears, and it's off to painting my face. So when I'm painting my face, I try to cover my face all in one go, because when you, again, like what I just mentioned, if you don't do that, you'll have to, if you go over it, like, with your brush, it'll reactivate it, and it'll make it thinner, it'll mess up your consistent coverage, because, your skin, even though it's different shades and stuff, it's consistently, the opacity isn't lower throughout your body. So I'm doing that, and whenever I miss, whatever areas I miss, and I'm like, oh, this isn't as much coverage, I go in with the blotting. The reason you don't want to make that your big thing is because it leaves, it makes it not as clear. And the person actually who helped me with this part of the video, or part of the project, is Ginny D, who has this great video about the basics of body paints and how to put makeup on and stuff like that to make it look three-dimensional, which is great. After I cover my face, I get some setting powder and I put it all over my face. I also bought some setting spray to try that out, but I didn't end up using it. And I think, if I remember correctly, you put this on your face to get rid of that shine, and I think it might also help keep the paint on there. I'm not sure about that, but I think it's just to help get rid of that oily shine and do other setting powder things. Sorry, I don't know. I just know that Ginny D said to use it, and the reasons she gave were great. And then after that, it's time to do some contouring. I decided to keep it minimal, just because I don't use makeup a lot. Whenever I've had to have makeup on before, like when I went to prom, well, I didn't have to, but I wanted to. I hired someone to give me a whole prom look, prom makeup, ooh, feeling all pretty and stuff. So I don't really use makeup myself. The only thing I put on myself like a couple times is lipstick, and that's pretty much it. So her video was very helpful figuring out what parts do I add the shadows, which parts do I add the highlights, how do I make this all work, and I'm excited to push this in my future cosplays. I definitely probably will still refer to her videos just to remind myself where do I put the highlights and shadows and stuff like that. But sorry, I got cut off again. I was really happy with how it turned out. After messing around with my shading and highlights, it's time to color in my eyebrows. I just do this with a eyeliner pencil just to make them bolder, since, the paint dulls it out. After that, I put on mascara, a lot of mascara, until I'm happy with it. And then for the lips, I don't actually have a lip color that I want to use. I would have used like a purple or maybe a blue, but I don't have that. So a trick you can do that Ginny D talked about is if you cover your lips with chapstick, and then you take, in this case it was a Maybelline eyeshadow, and if you cover that on your lips, there you go. It looks like your lipstick. You can use it to change your lips color. So that was really cool, and I like the fact that as I wore it and kind of did other stuff, it toned down a bit, and I actually liked it because I wanted more of a natural and less harsh feel, because I actually do have black lipstick and I could have just put it on. But yeah, so I got that look and I was really happy with the way it turned out. And the next step is to get all my little outfit details together for assembly. But before that, I want to quickly say, I hope you guys have been liking this video. And if you did, if you have, please consider dropping a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell so we can learn more about art together in a fun, nerdy environment. Now, let's look at the final reveal. Again, I really hope you liked this video, and if you did, you should check out my Baldur's Gate design series, which inspired this look. Each of the videos at the end has a little surprise that I think you might enjoy. And if you want to show some extra support, consider joining my Patreon. You'll get access to high-resolution PNGs of behind-the-scene art, time-lapses of said art, your name at the end of new videos, and more. Speaking of, it's time to thank my spooky and salty patron. You help our ghoulish flock of hens stay well-fed and happy in their run. With that, I will retire to my corpse-like slumber. Until next time, bye! Dimension 20 Never After inspired me to redesign two iconic Disney characters. For anyone who doesn't know, Dimension 20 is a company known for creating and recording tabletop games inspired by D&D and other gaming systems with immersive worlds and characters. The Never After series was set in a corrupted fairy tale world where things like free will and fate were questioned in really interesting ways. This series inspired many creative ideas at the time, including making my own little corrupted animation for an art competition hosted by the channel Animator Guild. Unlike other animations I created, I would only have a month to complete the entire production, and I already tried and failed to submit to this competition in the past because I bit off more than I could chew. But that's a story for later. So will I be able to create some compelling redesigns in time to submit my animation to the competition? Let's see.